We've all had those moments when nature feels like it's trying to speak to us. You know what I mean? That strange feeling when the wind suddenly changes direction, or when you see an animal cross your path and something inside you says, "Pay attention." These moments feel like more than just chance. They feel like signs, like the universe is trying to tell you something. But how do you know when these signs are truly significant? How do you know when to stop, listen, and maybe even change the direction of your life based on something as seemingly simple as a bird in the sky or a storm on the horizon? Let me tell you something. Nature has been talking to us since the beginning of time, long before we had the noise of modern technology and the distractions of everyday life. Human beings were deeply connected to the natural world. We listened to the wind, the animals, the trees, and the stars. These weren't just passive observations, they were messages guiding us, warning us, and sometimes even protecting us from harm. But over time, we've lost that connection. We've become so disconnected from the natural world that when a sign does appear, we either ignore it or don't even notice it. But here's the truth. Nature still speaks, and it speaks loudly. And today I'm going to reveal to you the top 5 natural signs you must never ignore. These are the moments when the universe is practically shouting at you to pay attention, when something greater than yourself is trying to guide you, protect you, or help you navigate your spiritual path. Trust me, once you become aware of these signs, your life will never be the same. The first sign you must never ignore is when animals behave unusually around you. Animals are deeply intuitive beings, more connected to the spiritual realm than we often give them credit for. Have you ever noticed how a dog starts barking uncontrollably for no apparent reason? Or how birds gather in strange formations? Or maybe even one crosses your path at just the right moment? These aren't random events. They're messages. Animals have a sense for energy that we've lost touch with. And when they act out of the ordinary, it's often because they're picking up on something that you can't see or feel yet. The next time an animal seems to act strangely in your presence, ask yourself, what is happening in my life right now? Is there something I'm missing? Is there something I'm ignoring that I need to pay attention to? These are the moments when you need to stop, reflect, and listen to the message that nature, through its creatures, is trying to tell you. Another natural sign you must never ignore is the sudden shift in weather patterns. I'm not talking about normal weather changes that happen as part of the day's cycle. I'm talking about those moments when the weather seems to change just for you. Maybe you're thinking deeply about a decision, and just as you arrive at a conclusion, a gust of wind blows through the trees, or a sudden downpour begins. These shifts are not a coincidence. In many spiritual traditions, the wind, the rain, and the elements are seen as messengers from the divine. They are nature's way of saying, pay attention. Something is changing. When the weather moves in a way that feels personal, take a moment to reflect on what's happening in your life. Ask yourself, what am I being guided toward? What am I being warned about? The answers are often right in front of you, but you have to be willing to see them. Now, let's talk about the third sign, the one that often goes unnoticed because we've become so conditioned to ignore it. The patterns in the sky. I'm not just talking about the sun, the moon, or the stars, though they too can carry messages. I'm talking about the clouds, the colors of the sky, and those strange moments when the light seems to shift in a way that makes you stop in your tracks. Have you ever looked up at the sky and seen a cloud formation that seems to resemble something meaningful to you? Or maybe you've looked up during a difficult moment and seen the sky open up in a way that feels like hope, like a message from above. These are not just random occurrences, they are signs. The sky has been a canvas for divine messages since ancient times. When you see something unusual in the sky, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking about? The sky is reflecting your inner world, and it's asking you to pay attention to the deeper truths within you. Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to go somewhere? Maybe it's a forest you've never visited, a mountain you've never climbed, or even just a park that suddenly feels like it's calling your name. This is the fourth natural sign you should never ignore, the pull of a place that seems to call to you. Sometimes nature itself is trying to guide you to a specific location because there's something there that you need to experience, see, or learn. It could be a moment of stillness that brings clarity, or maybe you'll encounter someone who has a message for you. This is why you must never brush off that inner nudge to visit a place that's unfamiliar or even slightly out of your way. That feeling, that tug, is nature's way of guiding you towards something important. So ask yourself, why am I being called here? What does this place have to offer me? Often the answer won't be immediately clear, but trust that the journey will reveal it. The earth, the trees, the rivers, they all carry ancient wisdom. When you feel drawn to a certain place, it's because your spirit is seeking something that only that place can offer. Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's a revelation, or maybe it's just a moment of deep connection to something greater than yourself. The key is to trust that feeling and follow where it leads you. Don't rationalize it away. Don't ignore it. Let nature guide you. When you arrive at the place you're called to, open your heart and mind and ask, what do I need to learn here? What is this place trying to show me? The answers will come, but only if you're willing to listen. And now we come to the fifth and final sign, the one that is perhaps the most subtle, but also the most powerful, the deep sense of stillness that falls over you in certain moments. And I'm not talking about the everyday kind of stillness that comes when the world around you is quiet. I'm talking about those rare, profound moments when time seems to stand still, when everything around you fades away, and you feel a deep sense of peace and clarity. This is a sign that you are in the presence of something sacred. It's a moment when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world becomes thin, and you are being given the opportunity to connect with the deeper truth. When this happens, stop everything you're doing. Don't rush through it. Don't try to explain it away. Just be present. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? What truth am I being shown? In these moments of stillness, the most profound revelations can come. They are gifts from the universe, moments of grace that offer you insight, healing, and guidance, but only if you're willing to be fully present and open to the message. So, what happens when you start paying attention to these signs? What happens when you stop brushing them off as mere coincidences and start seeing them for what they truly are, messages from the universe, guiding you on your spiritual path? Your entire life begins to change. You become more attuned to the world around you, more connected to the natural rhythms of life. You start to feel like you're part of something much greater than yourself, something ancient and wise that has been guiding humanity for millennia. But more than that, you start to make decisions from a place of alignment, from a place of deep knowing. When you listen to nature, you're not just following random signs, you're tuning into the very fabric of existence, the flow of energy that connects all living things. And that's when the real magic begins. When you start paying attention to the signs that nature is giving you, you'll notice that opportunities begin to open up in ways you never expected. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time. You'll meet the right people, and you'll encounter situations that seem almost too perfect to be a coincidence. This is the power of being in alignment with the natural world. It's not about controlling your life or forcing things to happen. It's about flowing with the energy of the universe and trusting that you are being guided toward your highest good. Sublisig. But here's the thing, you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to slow down, to step away from the distractions of modern life and to reconnect with the natural world. The signs are always there, but most of us are moving too fast to see them. We're too caught up in our thoughts, our worries, and our plans to notice the messages that are being sent to us every single day. So, I challenge you, start paying attention. Start looking for the signs that nature is giving you. Start listening to the messages that are all around you. And when you do, ask yourself, am I willing to trust the guidance I'm being given? Because that's the real question, isn't it? It's one thing to notice the signs, but it's another thing entirely to trust them and act on them. Now, let's go even deeper. Once you start noticing the signs that nature is giving you, the next step is learning to trust them. This is where many people struggle. It's one thing to see a sign, to feel that nudge from the universe, but it's another thing entirely to trust that nudge and let it guide your actions. How many times have you seen a sign, felt its significance, but then dismissed it because it didn't fit with your plans or your expectations? We've all done it. It's easy to brush off a sign when it feels inconvenient or when it challenges the direction you thought you were supposed to go. But let me tell you something, those are the moments when you need to trust the signs the most. When you're being guided in a direction that feels uncomfortable or uncertain, that's often because you're being called to grow. The universe doesn't give you signs to keep you comfortable, it gives you signs to help you evolve. And evolution requires stepping into the unknown, into the places that scare you, into the places that challenge your old ways of thinking and being. So, when you see a sign that points you in a direction you weren't expecting, ask yourself, am I willing to trust this? Am I willing to step into the unknown and follow where nature is leading me? This is where your spiritual growth happens. It's in those moments of trust, those moments when you let go of control and allow yourself to be guided by something greater than yourself. When you start trusting the signs that nature is giving you, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities that you never could have imagined. You start to live in alignment with the flow of the universe, and everything in your life begins to shift. You'll notice that things start falling into place in ways that feel effortless, as if the entire universe is conspiring to help you succeed. And in a way, it is. But here's the thing, you have to be willing to let go of your need for certainty. You have to be willing to trust the unknown. The signs that nature gives you won't always make sense right away. Sometimes they'll lead you down paths that feel uncertain or even a little scary, but that's the point. Spiritual growth isn't about staying in your comfort zone. It's about stepping into the unknown and trusting that you're being guided towards something greater. So, I want to leave you with one final question. Are you willing to trust the signs that nature is giving you? Are you willing to listen to the messages that are all around you and let them guide your actions, even when it feels uncomfortable? Because when you do, when you truly start listening and trusting, you unlock a level of spiritual potential that is beyond anything you could have imagined. You step into a life of alignment, flow, and deep connection with the natural world. And that, my friends, is where the real magic happens.